In Consumer Corner, we'll take a look at trends and products creating a buzz here in China. On today's show, we'll discuss the new round pricing rising trends. China is seemingly facing a new round of price rising trends. Since 2013, the taxi starting fare was said to be rising from $2.40 per kilometer. A few days after, a magazine published an article claiming that the price of China's natural gas will experience an increase at the beginning of April by nearly 15 cents. Although the National Development and Reform Commission published a document which indicated to citizens that the sources claiming that natural gas will rise was preposterous, only 4 days after the NDRC's announcement, the natural gas price frenetically increased by 40% in Changchun City. Generally speaking, when energy resources are involved, the price of Chinese resource products has always been a dichotomy. The future trend of rising prices is predictable. Thus, the natural resources related to everyday living, such as water, electricity, and natural gas, are hard to avoid cost inflation. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, China's CPI rose gradually at the beginning of 2013, with a year-on-year increase of 2% in January, a year-on-year increase of 3.2% in February, which surpassed last May's numbers to set a new record. The researcher of an energy industry indicated that China is on an overall rise in production and living costs. He believes that this overall rise has much to do with China's macroeconomic trends. China's GDP enjoyed a surprisingly rapid growth rate in recent years, along with the overprinted money, which caused the price-raising trend. He emphasized that the most important reason for overall price raising is because China has focused too much on the part of infrastructure investment and construction in national economic development, which is the major impetus that pushes prices up. The aforementioned quagmire conditions are largely contingent on China's economic development and economic growth momentum, which makes the price hard to cut down. However, besides the international factors, the external factors also play a very important role in price increases. The researcher said that due to the imperfect connection between the domestic and international markets, the price increase abroad will have influences on China's market, while the domestic price changes will hardly affect the international market. As of late, besides natural resources like electricity, water, and natural gas seeing an increase, the highest price hike reached 167% above the previous ticket price. Consumers complained about rising prices. However, the practitioners have their own adversities as well. Take the Beijing taxi drivers, for example, who paid the admission fees for their parent company and only earn a salary of $480 to $800, which definitely does not classify them in a high-income group. Without rising prices, these people are going to continue to have a hard time making a living. One netizen posted that, quote, "The inflation says without a doubt that the government broke its promise to the people. The insurance of the bill must be guaranteed by state credibility. The behavior of overprinting money is the behavior of robbing from people." However, some netizens believe that most people overblame the government for the high raising prices. Quote, "Indeed, the oil price is high, but the price of electricity is cheap enough due to the government subsidy. The state grid almost gains no profits from charging, not to mention that our country spends lots of money to make sure we can use as much electricity as we need at an acceptable price for everybody." There's also one optimist who wrote, quote, "It has been a big step for the government to finally admit what they did was wrong. Although this is far from enough, hopefully they can find out the real problem in China's economic development and be more considerate about people's well-being." However, there was one netizen who pointed out, quote, "All prices of living goods are rising. All the living costs are increasing. But what about people's salary? Why is our income not increasing along with the prices? How can we guarantee our quality of life with raising prices and no increasing salary?" From the government's perspective, the price control should be encouraged. However, if the price control includes not only rising the price, but also cutting down some really high prices, considering less the profits that the government makes, but rather think about what's best for the people's well-being. In this way, maybe a really good price control policy, which is not only endorsed by the government, but also backed by the people, can be issued, and the conflict between consumption needs and consumption difficulties could finally be abated.